Have you ever wondered about something? Amidst all the superstars, why do we love Modric so much? It's not because he scores the most goals. It's not because he has the most trophies, or even because he has the most raw talent. It's because this man became who every ordinary person wants to be. Football has never lacked prodigies. Messi was born a football genius. Ronaldo was a physical monster from day one. Mbappe lifted the World Cup at just 19. Their stories are like dazzling, distant myths. You watch them, say, "That's incredible," then lock your phone and go on with your day. But Modric is different. His story will leave you silent, holding back tears. It reminds you of the days you had to grit your teeth, because his life script is exactly like most of ours. Dealt a terrible hand, completely overlooked, doubted and underestimated every step of the way. The only difference is he never surrendered. In 1985, he was born in Zadar, Croatia. When he was 6, war broke out. His grandfather was shot while herding sheep. His family fled to a hotel-turned-refugee camp. Air raid sirens were his daily alarm clock. Bombs and explosions were his background music. While other kids chased footballs on green lawns, he kicked a torn, stitched-up ball in parking lots. The dirt beneath his feet mixed with shrapnel. This isn't the opening to some inspiring movie. This was his harsh reality. Fate was cruel. He wasn't even given natural talent. He was born small, frail, and lacked physical strength. Almost every youth coach told him the same thing. "You're too weak for pro football. Go herd sheep." Doesn't that sound like a moment we've all faced? You want something, and everyone says you can't. They say you lack what it takes. Stop dreaming. But most people listen, believe it, and give up. Modric refused to believe them. At 18, he went to the Bosnian League, a place famous for brutal, bone-crunching tackles. Everyone waited for the skinny kid to run home, crying. Instead, covered in bruises, he finished the season and won Player of the Year. He then survived the physical jungle of the Premier League. Then, Real Madrid came calling. Think the hard times were over? Not at all. This became the darkest period of his career. Joining Madrid in 2012, his stats were dismal. In a Marca fan poll, he was voted La Liga's worst signing of the year. Fans called him a massive flop sold by Spurs. They said Madrid spent $30 million on a joke. At the Bernabeu, every time he touched the ball, boos rained down from the stands. Nobody cared that he arrived at the deadline. Missing preseason and team training. They only cared if he could deliver perfection instantly. This world is exactly like that. No one cares how far you walked to get here. No one cares about the pain you endured. They only judge your very first touch. If you're slightly slow, flawed, or uninspiring, they instantly label you as a failure. A normal person would have collapsed. They would accept defeat and pack their bags. But not Modric. He didn't explain or argue. He didn't play the victim online. He was simply the first to arrive and last to leave, silently sharpening his passing, secretly building his stamina. He swallowed the injustice, turning it into power. Then came that 2013 Champions League strike against United, off the bench, scoring a screamer to equalize. 3 minutes later, he orchestrated the winning goal. After that night, no one ever called him a flop. But that wasn't even the greatest part. The greatest part is that he didn't let it inflate his ego. He didn't fight for the spotlight or demand the ball. Instead, he humbled himself even more. At Spurs, he was the absolute core, the main man. He played however he wanted. At Madrid, he willingly gave up control. He did the dirty work, defending, pressing, linking up, giving the spotlight to the forwards, to Ronaldo. That is what makes him truly incredible. Many can survive the pressure of rock bottom, but few can resist the temptation of the peak. Modric, however, knew exactly what he wanted. We all know what happened next. The legendary midfield trio, the Champions League three-peat. He became Madrid's irreplaceable midfield brain. In 2018, he dragged Croatia to the World Cup final. Averaging 12.1 kilometers, enduring extra times and penalties, he single-handedly carried a nation of 4 million right to the doorstep of world dominance. They lost to France in the final, but the world remembers that small figure in the rain. That year, he broke a decade of Messi-Ronaldo dominance. He stood at the absolute pinnacle of world football. And then, he didn't just quit while ahead. He didn't retire or take massive Middle Eastern paychecks. He renewed his contract year after year. Year after year, they said he was too old. And year after year, he proved them all wrong. At 36, he ran 12 kilometers in a UCL semifinal. His outside the boot assist pulled Madrid from the brink. At 37, during the Qatar World Cup, he led a rebuilding Croatia to third place. At 39, leaving Madrid, everyone thought he would retire. Instead, he joined Milan, saying, "My fire isn't out." At 40, he's still running, still playing, still battling physically with two 0-year-old kids. With fluid in his knees and old injuries aching, his peers retired long ago to enjoy comfortable lives. Only he remains on the pitch. What's his motive? He's won everything. He's made enough money. His legacy in history is completely secure. What he has is an unextinguished fire in his heart. He just wants to play one more World Cup. He wants to bleed for Croatia one last time. This is why we love Luka Modric so much, because he is not a god. He is human. He didn't have cheat codes or God-given talents. He just has a relentless, unbreakable spirit, and an absolute, undying devotion to the game. He shows us. It doesn't matter if you start poor. It's fine to be doubted or to move slowly. As long as you never quit and keep moving forward, you can turn a bad hand into a jackpot. He shows us. True strength isn't about never losing. It's rising again after failing countless times. True greatness isn't basking in the glory of your peak. It's the stubborn refusal to fade away in your twilight. He shows us. A hero doesn't have to be massive. They don't have to be the most gifted or dazzling. A hero can be the one who endures the most. The one running silently when everyone else has given up. The 2026 World Cup in North America is coming. And a 4-1-year-old Modric will be there. This will likely be his final World Cup. The last dance for Croatia's golden generation. How will it end? That doesn't even matter anymore. What matters is he's still standing, still running, still showing all of us. Starting at the bottom doesn't mean you lose. Being doubted or getting old doesn't mean you lose. As long as the fire inside you still burns, as long as you keep moving, you never truly lose. This is the story of Luka Modric, a shepherd boy walking out of war-torn ruins, spending 40 years to show the entire world. Ordinary people can become living legends.